Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. Wow, we got quite a few people here this evening. Good to see so many friendly faces. How are you guys all doing? Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you had a nice Wednesday for you guys. I really do. Just remember, just a couple more days till the weekend. I put this hat on and I realised I can't actually technically be able to wear the hat because of my headphones. So I'm going to have to take the hat off, guys. I'm really sorry. But you did get to see me wear it for a little bit at least. Anyway, how you guys all doing? Let's just say quickly hello to everyone. Heather, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Oh, love from rural Scotland. Lovely. I'm looking forward to doing my trip to Scotland next year. We're planning to do. We're planning to visit. Can't remember if it was West or East Scotland. I mean, we're planning to do a trip to Scotland next year. For I don't know if it's a couple of days or a week, but we're going to be doing a lot of driving. That is for sure. Pete's Music, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Jao, one of our moderators, guys. If you haven't, do consider checking out Jao's YouTube channel as well. If you guys get a chance to just have a look and check out his stuff. He's still getting into his rhythm for YouTube, but give him a chance, guys. Check him out. Scott Hayes, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Mithril, good evening as well. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. And anybody else who may be lurking, not just in this chat, but in the Twitch chat as well, because we are live on twitch.tv as well, guys. So we're going to be covering, we'll first be covering essentially Israel and Gaza. I know it's the most difficult subject to talk about. But I feel if we do that first and then other stuff after, we can look at after. The maximum length I want to go is an hour and a half, but if we finish beforehand, we'll stop there as well. So I've already given an indication of a couple of the topics that we may be discussing tonight as well. So let's go into it. No, it's all right, my friend. It's all right. Let me make sure just my settings is correct. For some reason it isn't. Okay. So I want to start off with this clip first. I'm going to start from Israel and Gaza, guys. This first one here is from an IDF spokesperson claiming eyewitness reports of aid site shootings is fake news. So this is always claiming it's fake news, despite the fact that I've literally seen video and photo evidence that claims otherwise. But no, apparently this IDF soldier says that what you guys are seeing, what you guys are hearing from witnesses and that, it's all wrong. Yep, the IDF, I'm not doing any of this. It's fake news, basically.
And that we make all the improvements to make sure that it's safe and viable for the people to go pick up the aid. And a lot of it is just plain fake news, I can tell you. The claim about IDF shooting youngsters in the testicles is just vile in a blood label.
It's the words of Dr. Nick Maynard. He's an experienced surgeon working at NASA Hospital. These are the words of somebody.
I've heard many of those complaints, and in many cases, what's missing is the statement that it's from IDF. You know, what happens is the hospital get people who are mistreated. Some of them are in crowded areas. Some are getting shot by Hamas. And
okay, here we go. So he says, no, it's not us, guys. It's Hamas who are shooting them. It's Hamas who are shooting them. What evidence does he have to support that Hamas are shooting them? And here's the thing, right? All the witnesses who come back here, who try to head to these aid sites, right? They all say the same thing. So, but because they're Palestinians, they're obviously claiming, well, that's just not true. It's just not true. It's not true. Well, it's like, well, show us evidence otherwise that it's not true. Dave, again, it's good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. This is just, he hasn't have any evidence to support his claims here.
Whoever, for some reason, the whole world and the international community, whoever is injured in Gaza is automatically counted as someone who was injured by the IDF.
That's because it's always you guys that are targeting them. And every time there's been attacks or strikes and whatnot, it's always shown to be you guys. And whenever you guys are challenged on these, instead of actually taking on the challenge, you say, oh, we're going to do an investigation, yada yada yada, and then you just forget about it. Or when you blow up schools or hospitals in Gaza, you claim that there's a Hamas command center down below them, but don't provide any evidence. Like, it just doesn't wash here.
Even though I was there physically, personally, in a day where nothing happened, and then reports came out of shooting in the
Nothing happened, right? Well, we're going to listen to a witness later on about some of these things as well.
center. I saw it with my own eyes. So there's one, a lot of fake news happening. Two, a lot of it is happening, if someone is 3-4 kilometers away from a distribution site. That's areas where IDF is fighting with Hamas actively. Hamas is obviously not wearing uniform. And then Hamas makes a statement that the IDF targeted people going to get aid. So people fighting.
And by the way, yeah, people have to walk through war zones to get to the aid sites because of where they are. Because where the aid sites are completely surrounded by rubble and destruction. Because where people are, there's nowhere for them. There's nowhere for them to go. Some of them have to walk barefooted for miles and miles and miles, Palestinians, to get to these aid sites in which they get shooted down, which we will hear testimony from in a bit later.
Fighting with IDF or trying to storm an IDF 4 or 5 kilometers away from the distribution sites, not at operating hours, are not people at line for food. And we have indications that Hamas is trying to carry out terror attack in the guise of this effort to bring food to the people of Gaza. Hamas does not approve of this system because it makes it much harder for them to loot, and they're doing everything they can to prevent the system from operating successfully. And I'll tell you something.
And he completely forgets to point out the fact that millions of Palestinians are starving and dying of malnutrition at the same time as well.
IDF is not perfect, but we're doing everything we can to facilitate aid into Gaza.
Yeah, by keeping it to the most minuscule amount of aid as possible, guys.
We're doing everything we can to be transparent, to learn from our mistakes, to improve the systems. But a lot of it is just plain lies being told by Hamas and then picked up by the world.
Well, again, like, if you have evidence to showcase otherwise, show it. But you just don't. You just don't. I'm not going to show this one. I'm going to show the other one here. This one by ITV here. ITV pulling zero punches in this incredible footage. The landscape of destruction looks wholly unreal, but it's not. It's the world. What is happening may come to define one of our darkest eras, ones that cast a stain on humanity, which will endure for generations. I'm just going to see if I can get a closer, better one. Yeah, there we go. Better footage for you guys. This has already been viewed 2.5 million times here on social media, here on Twitter.
Building by building, Gaza is being erased. Cities like broken skeletons laid waste by war. Graveyards of life and lives. The streets, homes and coffee houses of old now cast to the ground. The soul of this place, along with the souls who lived here, brought to ruin in the rubble and dust. Israel bans foreign journalists from entering Gaza. 15,000 feet above is the closest we get to seeing for ourselves the consequences of the war it is waging here. When we joined an airdrop last week, Israel also tried to restrict images from above being filmed or shown.
See? You see? They got no leg to stand on, Israel. They're trying everything to suppress what's happening inside Gaza.
Aid being dropped from this flight is to those who are trying to survive in this hell. This was Gaza before the bombs started falling, a place of life where normal lives were lived.
That was Gaza. That's Gaza before October the 7th. Look at this place. Okay, it's not a perfect place, but that was their livelihoods. Everything. And just within a few years, it's all gone.
There is no sign of that normality now. This is one of the explosions which destroyed Gaza, targeting the Turkish-Palestine Friendship Hospital, the only specialist cancer hospital in Gaza.
Yeah, because there's definitely Hamas terrorists in there, guys. Definitely. There's definitely, the IDF will tell you, definitely Hamas terrorists in there, right?
This is what's left of it now. This was the Al Wafa Old People's Home. We can't say what's become of its residents. This was a primary and secondary school. We can't say what became of the pupils.
You can see a big hole in the roof of that building there. I told you about how they struck schools, and there you can see there the hole in one of them where they've been struck there. But again, IDF and Israel will say, Hamas command center below there.
Many of the other ruins were homes. We can't say whether those that lived here survived or are among the 60,000 now dead. Under international law, it is a war crime to target schools, hospitals, and other civilian sites.
But Israel don't care, and we already know that.
This landscape of destruction looks otherworldly, yet it's not. It is this world, and what is happening may yet come to define one of its darkest eras. One that casts a stain on humanity, which will endure for generations.
Yeah, and it will be endured for generations. I'm not going to play the rest of it because ITV get very funny. They already get very fussy about people using their videos. But yeah, the fact that the only real journalists that are in there are those from Al Jazeera, Middle Eastern Eye, and some other independents. But even they are struggling to survive because of the lack of food and malnutrition in there. So it's becoming very difficult for them. The IDF learned well from the Soviets. Unfortunately. Okay, this is not actually Zoltan Mandabi. Don't get it twisted. This account. Israeli settlers just proved it's not about security, it's about cruelty. They attacked Gaza aid trucks, wrecked shipments of oil, sugar, and flour, slashed and tied injured drivers. This is starvation's weapon. This is genocide in plain sight. This is from the Instagram account Eyes on Palestine. Now, I don't know. I want to be very clear because context really matters. I don't know if this is recent or not. So I want to make that very clear to you guys because I don't want to claim that this has already happened, that this has been recent, because I don't know, because we have covered footage like this before. I'm pretty certain this is not the same footage that we've seen before here, but but we do know that aid trucks are being prevented or being sabotaged and attacked to stop food and aid getting into Gaza, because the settlers, specifically Israeli settlers, are targeting them with the intention of stopping, because they want Palestinians to suffer, they want Palestinians to die, they want Palestinians to be forced out of Gaza so they can take the land for themselves.
شغل المستوطنين. شوف
You can see all these boxes here.
شغل المستوطنين. لا زيت ولا سكر ولا
completely ripped out.
ولا طحين. حسبنا بالله ونعم الوكيل.
Don't have a translate, I'm afraid.
يعني
but,
فوق
you can see from all the boxes there.
بخربوا وبضروا المساعدات، بضروا الشوفير وصاحب السيارة كمان في الخراب. يعني سيارات ما شاء الله جديدة.
You see again that you saw there the tire's been slashed there. Yeah, you can see there no tire slashed. Here's all the flour, there's food that could have been for the Palestinians again slashed. Trucks completely abandoned.
امشي معي امشي معي امشي طلع السكر، هذا سكر هذا سكر.
Again another truck here full of flour.
طلع.
And again slashed.
حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل.
And then you've got another truck there full of flour. Again, they've stopped it, slashing this, stopping this all.
كله كمان خراب.
You see again the tyres there have been slashed by Israeli settlers.
طلع كله الكوشوك مش الكوشوك طلع طلع.
And you can see all that flour that could have been used to help to feed Palestinians, children, innocent people. Could have been used to feed them, but instead it's all been dumped here.
شوف السعن لسه شوف هذا مسخن.
And you got a full truck
طبعا السيارات شغالات
up ahead there as well.
اختصارا للشر وللمشاكل الشوفيرية دشرت سياراتهم
They got
وشردوا.
a fifth truck as well.
طبعا أنا واحد
Sure,
منهم.
you say 6 trucks there.
بس أنا الحمد لله
about 6,
بآخر
7,
لحظة
8
كان
trucks
جاي
here
الجيش.
that have been stopped
طبعا
or
بفرجيك سيارتي.
tires have been slashed again. And so you see all that flour there again. Yeah, pretty horrible. And here's the thing, like what's frustrating and infuriating when you try to, like, when some charities and organizations are raising money to feed Palestinians and whatnot, right? And then you see this, it just feels like that the money that you're trying to go towards a good cause to help these people, and it just gets spaffed up by the actions of Israeli settlers, which is what's happening here. Good evening, Scott. Good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. You can see here from this clip, a reminder, guys, that this was happening before. This is Israeli soldiers in Gaza. This is 1994. Nothing started on October 7th. That's why October 7th started here. Remember, this is 1994. Remember, things started before October the 7th. Very glad someone brought this clip, shared this clip recently, just to highlight and remind people that this was happening, like literally just here, like this soldier. Just what was this all about? You know, what was this all about? Like this is what you know. This is how they feel about Palestinians. Always have, and no different that time. No different. I saw things like this in Portuguese prime time in the news. How about in the UK is the question. Not this kind of... well, that ITV footage was aired on ITV. It was aired on TV. The first one holding the soldier's arm was a Muslim priest.
Why aren't Palestinians the ones speaking for our cause? I remember the silence of the woman brought into the hospital injured, staring blankly and unable to speak. She had given birth 1 week earlier. She couldn't find her 7-day-old baby. Both her baby and her toddler were trapped under the rubble. There are no words that can adequately convey the pain and depravity of this aggression. There are no words. Why are we not there and able to speak? The Palestinian people, the people in Gaza. I want the whole world to know that I'm a human being. At the end, I am not pen on paper. I'm not anonymous. I'm a human being created by God. Over the past decade. Most recently, as part of an emergency medical team working in a hospital. Our Palestinian colleagues are not here today because the systems we currently exist in don't recognize the value of Palestinian life. Hundreds of healthcare workers have been held in Israeli captivity. At least 4 have been killed while in detention. Their bodies are still being held. Every single healthcare worker I met in Gaza has lost family, has lost friends, has lost colleagues. Every single healthcare worker I met has been displaced multiple times, has been forced out of the hospitals where they work.
Dr. Tanya Haid Hassan, we've covered her speaking before. Some of you guys may remember she had spoke to, I believe it was Sky News or one of the British media outlets, and spoke very passionately about her time in Gaza, and she's speaking out again here. Now, I just want to stress, you're not going to see anything graphic in this video, but this is inside Gaza. Thank you, Middle Eastern Eye, for sharing this. Every day in Gaza, a new season of death. A Palestinian photographer shares a video comparing the crowds at a Gaza aid distribution site with the Kabbalah in Mecca to highlight the situation Palestinians are in and to condemn global silence towards Gaza. And luckily, Middle Eastern Eye have translated it in English for us to see as well.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك بس هذول يا عالم مش حجاج ولا في كعبة في شعب عم بطوف حوالين شاحنة مساعدات شايفينهم هذول مش حجاج هذول جوعة بدل ما يلبسوا الإحرام لابسين الهم والغم والحاجة كيس الطحين صار حلم، صار حلم، صار جواز سفر لكرامة لحظية، مش عشان تلحق الرحمة، عشان تلحق رغيف الخبز وما يروح لحد غيرك. احنا يا عالم ما بنطوف حوالين الحجر، احنا بنطوف حوالين الامل، وما بنرجم ابليس، بنرجم الصمت العربي والخنوع الاسلامي والسكوت العالمي. وانت يلي بتشوفني لو قلبك صاحي حج لضميرك، طوف حوالين انسانيتك، وقف مع غزة مش بموسم، كل يوم في غزة موسم موت جديد. لبيك اللهم صبرا، لبيك اللهم كرامة ورغم الجوع، لبيك اللهم نصرا. يا رب يا رب، لا تخليهم يجربوا اللي جربناه، ولا تخليهم يعيشوا اللي عشناه.
I admire this man because of putting on a brave face in the face of destruction in front of him, and the people around him who are literally scrambling to get anything and anything. I know that was brutal to listen to, guys, but that is what they are going through. That is what these people are going through every single day, every waking second. Him, like every other Palestinian in there, and it is horrifying to read. This is just so effed up. I know, Scott. I know, but it's important to remind us that this is happening. And I know it's hard and brutal to take. It is brutal and hard to take. But the world needs to know about this, and the world needs to be understanding that, hey, world leaders are not doing enough about this. World leaders are not taking enough action about this. These people are suffering. These people are dying. These people are not being fed. They're not getting medicine. They're not getting basic necessity needs because Israel will not give it to them. Worse than animals, I can't describe the cruelty being involved coherently. And I just don't, like, I still, after everything that I hear, everything that I see, I still try to put myself in the shoes of Israelis to try and understand. And I still struggle. Because it just, for me, I would just be giving up my very humanity, my very morals, to try and justify in any way, shape or form what Israel does. And I just cannot do that. And I always go back to how people are born, how people are raised, how people are taught, and how people's mindsets are made to be in a certain shape, in a certain way. Remember, this is how Israel teach their people. This is how they raise them. They are teaching, Israel are teaching their children, their next generations, and the adults that they have today. They're trying to teach them that these are not human beings, that these do not justify. There is nothing wrong with doing what we're doing to these people because of what they have done to us in the past. Their mindset, based on their religion and on history, altered history, by the way, because they alter their history to make it seem like that they are victims in all this, Israel as well. And we know they've got blood on their hands, but they twist the minds of people. They twist the minds of Israelis at a young age to where they are into this thought that Palestinians, Hamas, whoever they are, they're all scum, they're all vermin, they are all evil. They're evil. Even the children are evil. Yes, don't be fooled that they are innocent. No, these children are evil. This is what they are taught. This is what Israelis are taught, that what they're doing is justified. We know it's wrong. We know it's wrong. You and I, we all, those in the chat, we know it's wrong. But this is what they are taught. And because this psychological thing, don't Reganelite, this is not a both-sided argument. I didn't say it wasn't a both-sided argument. That's not what I said. That's not what I said, Mefrel. What I'm trying to do is get into the mindset of them, which is not possible. animals may kill to eat. These monsters kill people who try to eat. It's sick. It impedes me. What Israel wants to do, they want all Palestinians completely out of the Middle East. They want them all gone. They want them either by killed or by exile or whatever. They want the lands for themselves. They believe that all the land belongs to them by their rights or by their gods or by their so-called history, when it's supposed to be shared. They don't want that. They don't want to share it. It's so infuriating that the world can stop this anytime they want. America can stop this anytime they want. But they choose not to. They choose not to.
Decision to the latest reports regarding Prime Minister Netanyahu's possible decision to expand Israel's military operations through the entire Gaza Strip, if true, are deeply alarming. This would risk catastrophic consequences for millions of Palestinians and could further endanger the lives of the remaining hostages in Gaza. In the past week, Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad released images and videos of two hostages, Evaitar David and Rom Braslavsky, looking visibly emaciated as they described the appalling conditions of their captivity. International law is clear. Hostage-taking is prohibited. It is a war crime.
My little brother now weighs only around 40 kilograms. That's just around 90 pounds. This is my brother. You can see the hand is even thicker than his leg, than my brother's leg. We now know from medical reports and other indications that Evyatar, Guy, and the others are the brink of death. They may only have days left to live. Days. We, the family of Evyatar, refuse to give up hope. We are weeping and suffering, but we are also fighting with every fiber of our being. We will not give up until we see him back home, until my mother and father can hug him again.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I want the hostages released. I really, really do, because what Hamas did on October 7th was disgusting, and they're holding them. But again, it does not justify what Israel are doing to Palestinian people in any way, shape, or form. You just cannot justify it. Just can't. Oh, I put it in the wrong. Okay. So this is from Al Jazeera a couple of hours ago. Illegal Israeli settlers attacking an aid convoy for the second time in days, delaying 30 trucks from Jordan on their way to Gaza. Video shows settlers chanting, "May Palestine's name be wiped out." Jordan has condemned the assault. See, these people, they think they're in the right. They think what they're doing is justified. What they don't realise is that they are as terrible, they are as evil, and they are as cruel as the Israeli government. It's absolutely insane. And the worst thing about this situation here is that the police and police enforcement and whatnot, they're not actually going to push them and force them out the way so the trucks can carry on. No, they'd rather leave it. Because we know how the police feel. We know how people we know how those in power feel about it. Absolutely disgusting people. These people, they don't realise they are promoting and advocating for the deaths of Palestinians, of human children. Human children. They support the death of children starving. They don't realise that. Like, a question I would ask them, those there, how does it feel to be a child murderer? That's what I would say to them. How does it feel to murder children? Like, how does it feel to be known as a child murderer? Because that's what I would say to them. How would it feel to be a child murderer? Because that's exactly what they're doing. I've got a very powerful video to show you guys next. It's 7 minutes, nearly 8 minutes long. But it's very, very important you guys pay attention to this one. Some of you guys may have heard this video already. But we need to watch this one together. Now, I want to thank Bernie Sanders for highlighting this one as well. What about hostages, Palestinians in Israeli prisons? Exactly, Bifrol. That as well. Again, we don't talk. I've covered. I remember when we covered it, and made me sick to my stomach. And we know those atrocities are still happening. We know those atrocities are still happening. Nice. YouTube is censoring words again. Genocide. Okay. Right, so let me just give you the context for this before we play this from Bernie Sanders. Tony Aguilar is a retired Special Forces Green Beret who won a Purple Heart for his service to this country. He took a contract helping to distribute aid to Gaza. There he witnessed atrocities committed using American taxpayer dollar. Please watch this important video. All right, hope you guys are ready for this one.
So the reason for me wanting to come forward and share this story is apolitical. The distribution method, the delivery of aid, is not being done in line with American values.
20 Palestinians were killed
while trying to get to food aid distribution sites.
My name is Tony Aguilar. I'm a retired Lieutenant Colonel Green Beret from service in the United States Army. I served for a career of 25 years. I've deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan in combat operations and numerous other operational deployments. So I spent a considerable amount of time in Gaza during my 45 days in Israel. I was under a contract by UG Solutions, which is the security apparatus under the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. I felt it was a noble cause. I felt it was a good mission to feed the people of Gaza. So I did sign up and go on the contract. The IDF gave us, SRS, UG, they gave us our marching orders. They told us which sites we would deliver from, when we would deliver, how much aid we would deliver, how much time we would stay on the site to deliver, what type of aid we would deliver. The IDF controlled and directed every aspect of the delivery of aid. From the very first day, distribution at Site 1 has been chaotic, pandemonium. The best way that I can describe how the Palestinians reach the site to receive aid is akin to the Hunger Games, survival of the fittest. Whomever can run the fastest and the furthest to get to the site first gets the aid. So those that are typically left with receiving no aid, no food, no type of aid are children, women, disabled. The sites themselves, in terms of the process for having the Palestinians leave the distribution site.
Sorry, I just want to pause it there. Look at how they are treated. They are being funneled. People are being funneled to get fed, and you've been hearing. And I know this is brutal because you're hearing some gunshots and whatnot. I don't as far as from last time I watched this, and I watched this before, I'm pretty sure there's not any graphic footage, but you do hear gunfire. You do hear IDF soldiers taking pleasure in doing what they're doing as well. And this is brutal, but this needs to be heard. And the reason I'm playing this to you is because not everyone has heard this video.
Was done through shooting at them, hitting them with pepper spray and tear gas, firing rubber bullets from shotguns at them. And this isn't something that happened just once or twice. This happened every day at every distribution, at every site. This is not hyperbole. This is not Hamas propaganda. This is not Gaza Ministry of Health saying it. It's me. I've seen it. The contractors on one occasion, on the 29th of May at site number 4, opened fire with his individually assigned weapon into the crowd, at their feet, over their heads, and into the crowd. As he did this, he celebrated what he was doing and he yelled, "Woohoo!" Then another contractor who was standing next to me said, "I think you got one." The contractor that was shooting then replied, "Hell yeah, boy." I took the video. I was there. I saw it. I watched it happen. The contractor that said, "Damn, I think you got one, man."
They're celebrating. They celebrate shooting innocent, starving people. They're celebrating killing innocent, starving people. Just let that sink in for a second, okay? That's how fucked up these people are. They're celebrating it as if it's a good thing, as if what they're doing is okay, is all right. It's not fucking okay. It's not in any way. I just cannot understand how people think this is perfectly okay. These are innocent people who are desperate to live, desperate for food, desperate to aid, desperate for water, and you shoot them like they're fucking target practice. You shoot them like they're nothing. It's the morals of humanity is so gone from these people, and they just don't realise it. It's just beyond the heartbreaking, but we must continue, guys.
Was referring to a Palestinian man that fell to the ground and never got up. It's within my assessment that he was dead. And another incident on the 2nd of June at distribution site number 1, which is in the south in Rafah, I witnessed a UG contractor throw a stun grenade into the crowd. The metal fuse top of the stun grenade hit a Palestinian woman in the head, and she immediately dropped to the ground, lifeless and motionless. A donkey cart was brought onto the site to load her onto the donkey cart to remove her from the site at the direction of the SRS operational leadership. She was dead. This happened on the site. On the 28th of May, we submitted a report to the leadership of UGS and Safe Reach Solutions that site number 3 in particular was dangerous and that people would die if changes were not made. Those changes were not made. And on the 16th of July, 20 people died.
20 Palestinians were killed Wednesday morning at its food distribution site in Khan Yunis.
Palestinians, human beings, trampled to death on a site that we could have prevented.
They knew what they're doing. We've established this. We know this. They know what they're doing. I know it's hard, guys. But I know this is hard to listen to, but it's important.
Those deaths are on us as Americans. We're complicit in that. In the dozens of distributions that I was a part of at every site, not one time ever did I feel a threat, assess a threat, see a threat, never saw a weapon, never saw a gun. The fire, the actual small arms fire that we received on the locations at times came from the IDF in our location.
No Hamas. No Hamas. Anytime he was at these sites, it was never Hamas. It was never Hamas. It was just IDF consistently shooting at innocent people. They have made accusations, the IDF, that is Hamas attacks, attacking aid sites, or they've attacked people, but they've never shared any photos or evidence to make the claims.
The entire city of Rafah has been razed to the ground, so there is no civilian population around the sites. They have to travel 8 to 12 kilometers one way, on foot, no vehicles. Most of them don't have shoes, poorly clothed. They haven't eaten, they're starving.
Again, look at all these people who have to make this trip. It's just horrifying.
There is no water that's distributed in the humanitarian aid. And to get there, they have to walk through an active war zone. On 2 occasions, I bore witness to a Palestinian man in one instance and a Palestinian woman in a second instance that were carrying their dead children. And these children didn't die from gunshot wounds or from sickness or disease. They died of starvation. I've seen it with my own eyes. I witnessed it on the ground in Gaza. Americans don't set up food to a starving population and have them walk through a war zone just to then shoot at them and hit them with stun grenades and pepper spray and then send them on their way. That's not the American way. That isn't in line with American values. After 25 years of service, when I hung up my uniform, I didn't hang up my oath. And my oath is to the Constitution and to the values of this country. Not to a president, not to a Congress, not to a company, but to this country. And I think most Americans would agree with that. The distribution itself is not feeding the population of Gaza. In fact, we are starving them because we are providing them with so little. The mechanism in place right now does not work. It is my job to make sure that the American people know this, because our tax dollars are going to this. Your tax dollars, U.S. taxpayers, are funding this. When I was hired on the 14th of May, signed my contract, that was supposed to run through the 21st of August. On the 14th of June, at that point, I had witnessed indiscriminate shooting, inappropriate use of force, dereliction from the leadership. I brought each circumstance to the leadership with a recommendation and solution on how we could address this. I was committed to seeing this succeed. When the leadership ignored it, that was my red line. That crossed my moral threshold of what I could put up with. And I left. I terminated my contract and I came home.
I applaud him for Tony for standing up and saying, for showing that footage, for knowing what was happening, for trying to speak out, and for him to have been there live to witness it, to see it with his own eyes. And it's very brave as well. It takes someone very brave to speak out, and in the way it's been done. This has been beautifully done, and I know that was brutal to listen to, and I know it was brutal to see some of that footage, and it was, but it needed to be shown, it needed to be seen, and it needed to be said. Hamas is hiding in the hole already outside the country, says Jal. Yeah. I know it was brutal, guys. I know it was brutal. But we're done. We're done with that now. So I don't even think we'll make it to an hour with the footage that I have. So guys, we are going to switch gears from Israel and Gaza. I will. I don't know if I'll be covering it tomorrow. I may cover some. Well, I will cover one or two news outlets in the morning, obviously, in the good morning on any updates, of course. But that's about it. But if you did stay and listen through all that, thank you. I really appreciate it. I know that wasn't easy. But it's important that we highlight it. We highlight what's going on because it really, really does matter. And we pray every day, and we just hope every day that the aid will get in somehow, some way. That people of Gaza will finally be fed, guys. My apologies, I'm getting really bad reflux at the moment. Oh my god, that was really bad reflux. I'm sorry. Can I also recommend, before we switch news, guys, that if you need something to uplift your spirits, can I recommend you guys to do, on the home page, there's a if you scroll down my homepage, there's a playlist called Good News, Good Vibes, and I always recommend people to check out videos from there. They are wonderful, good, heartwarming stories that remind you about the good in humanity. I recorded a couple of videos today because I wanted to build up my backlog. I covered this wonderful story about how this old man who relishes helping out in his community, and another one where money was raised for another person who basically was stuck in their job. And there was this wonderful story I shared about that won't be out until next month, actually. This story about a man from Hong Kong. I think it was Hong Kong. No, Japan, apologies. From Japan, where a dog saved his life from a bear. I don't have the footage, but it was a very lovely story to remind us about man's best friend. So do check out the Good News, Good Vibes playlist, guys. Again, it's on the home tab on the page. I do recommend checking it out if you need some uplift, because I do want to stress that to you guys, that there is good people out there, and we need to remind ourselves of it. There are good things still happening out there, even though we always see horror out there, guys. So we are switching gears to what's happening in the UK, in particular what's happening when it comes to migration. I want to start with this clip here. This about, oh, for feck's sake, about Rwanda, for crying out loud. Now I'm going to play the clip, and I'll cut in when I need to on this, guys.
The rules that you do want to change is obviously the right to remove people that have no lawful right to come to this country. And the Rwanda scheme was a great example of that. You could see it was working.
So already, like, we are, 9 seconds in, and he said the Rwanda scheme, you could see it was working. Based on what exactly? What was the Rwanda scheme working on? Obviously, this caller here doesn't have a very good memory. Or he must suffer from amnesia, or he's just an absolute moron, because everyone knows the Rwanda scheme never worked. Everyone knows it was a giant waste of taxpayer money. And those who went to Rwanda, they were actually paid by the government to go to Rwanda. They were actually paid by the government to go to Rwanda. Did you guys forget that? Oh, yeah. Did you guys remember? Like, one or two of them were actually offered taxpayer money to go to Rwanda. To say, please go to Rwanda, so it makes us look like, yeah, we're actually sending people to Rwanda. Yeah, we sent them. We sent some to Rwanda. Two free volunteers, and allegedly some of them were handed government taxpayer money to be sent to Rwanda as well. The scheme was never going to work. It never did work, and we paid. I remember us. Do you remember we also paid taxpayer money? Do you guys remember we paid to build homes in Rwanda for them to be in as well? And then what happened to those homes? Oh yeah, that's right. The Rwandan government was getting fed up of us waiting, so they started those homes that we built in Rwanda. Taxpayer money, taxpayer money. Do you know what happened to those homes? Yeah, they ended up getting used by Rwanda in the end. So we spent taxpayer money in Rwanda to build homes in that country for Rwandans. Yeah, that really worked out as well, didn't it? So no, the Rwanda scheme was a dud, and we will continue to call it one.
Saw the problem Ireland had when they fled to Ireland.
I don't think you
could
say it was working, Paul, the Rwanda scheme.
Why couldn't you say it was working? There was mass people leaving the UK that had no right to be here.
No, they
Ireland
weren't.
had a huge problem.
What's he talking about? He's trying to claim that a mass amount of people. What is he trying to claim? A mass amount of people were deported to Rwanda. I don't think he knows that. I think if he had also did he not know that so many people's asylum application processes weren't being processed by the Conservatives because they couldn't be bothered to hire the people to deal with it as well.
Tents in the street.
Well, but I think the issue was about sending people over to be processed in Rwanda never happened. There was sort of one or two people who went voluntarily.
Yeah, this is really important. I'm very glad that this was brought back up here. That Henry brought this back up here. Remember that the plan from the Conservatives for the policy was to send people to get processed in Rwanda. So rather than actually process them in the UK, where they're supposed to be, no, they wanted to process them in Rwanda. Does that make any sense? Yeah. And then the idea was that their application, if they could either stay in Rwanda or go back to, or if they got rejected, sent back to their country of origin. So they didn't even get a choice. The idea was to basically deny them the choice of coming to the UK, even if their asylum claim was accepted. It was a lose-lose situation, and it's also against a breach of their human rights as well, because it's just wrong on so many levels.
Issue with the Rwanda scheme as well, Paul, is it was a bit of a sledgehammer to crack a nut, wasn't it? Because what it meant was that we weren't taking in any successful asylum seekers. If you were sent to Rwanda to be processed and you were successful, you stayed in Rwanda. If you were unsuccessful, you were sent to another third country.
No, that wasn't correct. You had the chance to have your asylum case heard in the UK.
You didn't.
I mean, look
you
at
didn't.
the problem
You were
now
processed there, and you had the chance to stay in Rwanda.
This was actually in the policy.
No, you had the chance to stay in Rwanda, but you could also come to the UK once it was successfully processed.
No, you didn't.
I'm not sure where you're getting that from.
I'm not sure where you're getting that from, Paul. Go on. No, all right. Well, I mean, if you look at the Rwanda scheme, and I was checking this earlier on, your claims are processed there. If you're successful, you stay in Rwanda. If you're unsuccessful, you can appeal your decision in Rwanda or find another safe country. None can apply to come to the UK.
There you go. Literally just read it from the policy, the bill itself. Literally that. But, you know, obviously, apparently, Paul, the caller, thinks he knows better here. I'm not going to play this one, actually, because I don't really know how true this is. This was actually last month, actually. So it's another protest there. Asylum seekers waiting for applications to be processed allow them to work. Housing campaigner Kadawando Tibila said enabling those seeking asylum in the UK would reduce government spending on asylum boats. This was a few days ago. Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
Well, I think there's a lack of understanding about this issue, especially hotel asylum accommodation, and the housing crisis as a whole is an issue that a lot of people care about. I think the second most spoken about subject matter, but what we don't often talk about is the fact that asylum seekers don't have recourse to public funds, and the only other alternative is for them to be on the streets. And in fact, what I think should happen is actually we look at asylum seekers waiting for their applications to be processed and allow them to work. The reason I say that is because it gives them income. They can afford to pay for their own accommodation. We won't be relying on hotels. They won't have to be living on £30 or £40 a week, but more importantly, it will generate billions and save billions that can be invested into communities up and down the country where these sorts of protests are happening, and it has some of the highest poverty rates in the country. And fundamentally, that's what I think this government needs to be looking at. We can't just label those out protesting all as racist or fascist, because we're talking about millions of people, and if we do that, we risk pushing them further into the hands of right-wing commentators online or parties banking on sowing division in order to get the keys to number 10 at the next general election.
Well said. Really couldn't add any more to what he said there, and he's absolutely right that if we allow asylum seekers while their application is being processed to work, they can contribute to the economy. They no longer are having to rely on taxpayers to fund their basic needs. This is also why, when we covered last week, why so many people are volunteering as well, because they can't do anything. They're stuck sitting around. A lot of people want to work, but some of them are forced to work voluntarily because they can't actually work for a living, and they would rather work for a living rather than just sitting around twiddling their thumbs. So what some of them end up doing is doing volunteering work because they got nothing else to do. Couldn't have said it better there, really. Absolutely. So as we go, as some of you, there's obviously the new one in, one out deal that has been signed. So this is from France 24's perspective on the new deal that was ratified on Tuesday as well.
It's being called the one in, one out plan, as Britain and France try to reduce record numbers of English Channel crossings by migrants seeking to reach the UK from French shores. The pilot program is the result of an agreement reached between UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron back in July.
It is there to prove the concept that if you come over by small boats, then you will be returned to France. And if it works, what it does is break the model. And that's the only way in the end to stop this vile trade.
It doesn't work, by the way. Again, we've established that the only way to stop the boats is by creating safe and legal routes for people. And until that is done, this will never stop.
Under the deal, migrants apprehended in the UK after crossing the Channel can be returned to France. In exchange, Britain will accept an equal number of asylum seekers currently on French soil, provided they have a valid claim and have not yet tried to make the crossing. British authorities say they'll be prioritizing nationalities most often targeted by traffickers who operate smuggling networks, as well as asylum seekers with established links to the UK. So far this year, some 25,000 people have already made the Channel crossing in small inflatable boats, a dangerous journey that has resulted in several tragic mass drownings and exacerbated anti-immigration sentiment in the UK. French President Emmanuel Macron blamed Brexit.
After Brexit, the UK no longer had any immigration deal with the EU, and that actually created an incentive for illegal crossings.
The new deal has been dismissed by British Conservatives as unlikely to have any effect on net illegal immigration. Some French officials, meanwhile, have criticized it as too favorable to the UK. Time will tell. The pilot program is set to run until June of next year.
You know what? It's refreshing to hear someone saying, putting it just blatant what it is, blames Brexit. Yeah, because it is Brexit's fault. It is Brexit's fault that it's gotten worse rather than gotten better. But this deal will not make a difference. I'm just saying it now. I'm just going to call it out now. It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to stop the boats. It's not going to stop the smuggling gangs. People are still going to try and cross. And unless you create safe and legal routes, that's what they're going to continue to do. It's just, again, like dismissing the point, not fixing the obvious solution here. Now, I want to take what you're about to watch here, take with a massive pinch of salt. Okay, what we're about to see here. Now, apparently this was on the 3rd of August. I don't know where this hotel was. I don't know enough about this, but I wanted to play this anyway because I think it's quite peculiar. So here's what it says. The police let one of the protesters outside a hotel housing asylum seekers to see what's happening in there. He came out saying that there are women and children in the hotel. Okay. Now, again, I don't know enough context about this, so do take what we're about to watch with a massive pinch of salt, guys.
No, I'm going in on my own, all right? Going on my own, and I'll tell you the truth what's in there, all right? No lies anywhere, lads, no lies.
Okay, sure.
I've just been in there. I've just been in there now. There is family and kids in there, and they're gonna try and keep the families and kids there. All that's been told is that there's men coming, but they're not 100% sure that men are coming in there. So, as I've said to them, it's not rioting. It's our protest to save our families. And this government that we have got are all corrupt. It's their fault we're in this position. They need to twist back off and sort Britain out again, because this is why we're here, because they're corrupt as anything. They're telling us one thing, telling us another thing, and it's all bullshit, all lies. All right, and that's all I'm going to say. Thank you very much.
Again, like, this guy obviously thinks that again, like, if he had half a brain cell, which he does not, he would understand that not everything revolves around immigration, but that's all he listens to. As well as all these friends, family, and colleagues around him, and because they continuously get fed the same lines, the same stuff over and over again, they become obsessive with it. Now I will say he was quite calm in his response, but he's right in saying the governments are all corrupt, the politicians are all corrupt. I mean, I wouldn't say that about the Green Party yet, but I can understand that sentiment when it comes to migration there. But it sounds like to me that if there were riots, I don't think he would participate based on the way he spoke about it there. So I just wanted to put that out there here. So last year, of course, there was the as we remember the 2024 riots. And Paris and Josh recalled the terrifying moment they witnessed crowds of rioters attacking asylum hotel housing asylum seekers north of Rotherham in 2024. And I really do think this is going to happen again because nobody has got a solution. Nobody wants to deal with this the humane and proper way.
Fences were being ripped apart. Rocks are flying. Police screams. What is England coming to? What is going on?
This was the question being asked across the nation as mobs rampaged through towns and cities, stoked by misinformation online about the murder of 3 girls in Southport.
This is how sad people are. They jump to conclusions. There is so much distrust between ordinary people and the government. It's just on an unimaginable scale. Anything that you just cannot trust government. You cannot trust politicians. The level of distrust is so massive, and this is what's leading. This is why we have riots like this, because you're supposed to, when politicians tell you something, when leaders tell you something, you're supposed to take it for face value. You're supposed to take things on board from what they say. But the discontent and distrust, there is just so much of it now. It's absolutely horrifying to see here. It really, really is.
Targeting asylum seeker hotels, rioters stormed the Holiday Inn Express north of Rotherham.
And here's the thing, like, they're not thinking, they're just assuming that because, and I've said this before, and I will say this again, just because someone committed a crime and whether they are an asylum seeker or not an asylum seeker, whether they are white, whether they are black, whether they are British, whether they are Afghan, whether they are Muslim, whether they are Christian, whatever it is, right? You do not simply go by the name of, oh, because this asylum seeker did crime A, you automatically assume that everyone in that same category is also a criminal. And that's exactly what they are thinking. They assume that they're all the same. But you wouldn't say that if a white British man who is a convicted rapist, you wouldn't then say, oh, all white men are rapists too. You wouldn't say that. No, you wouldn't. But for some reason, because it's an asylum seeker or because it's a brown person, we have to, according to these people and what they've been fed, apparently they're all the same. It's just blatant racism is what it is. And I know these people don't like being called racist, but they are racist because they would not be saying the same thing if it was white people. They would not be saying the same thing if it was white British people. They would not be acting out like this if it was our own if it was our own. They just wouldn't. And that's the reality. That is the reality. And that is why they are racist. They may not think that they're racist. They may think that they are acting in their interest of the UK or thinking that they're acting in the interest of protecting their families. But all they are doing is harming themselves, harming their families, harming their communities, and harming England, harming this country. All they are doing is hurting themselves and everyone around them by their actions. That's what they are doing. And they don't realise it. They don't realise what they are doing.
Josh and Paris live metres away and couldn't believe what they saw unfolding on their doorstep.
It looked like a modern day lynching, and that's what I was afraid it was going to turn out to be.
It was just a terrifying moment for what I imagine like everyone in that hotel. these years and years of build-up of immigration's the problem. Oh yeah, by the way, they're at this hotel, let's all go there and set it on fire.
Social media is definitely fueling the fire because it's like echo chambers, really. People are getting told the same things over and over again, and it's making them angry, and they're on social media, and then they find out that there's a riot and they're like, yeah, I'm going to go to that.
Do you think anything fundamentally has changed though over these 12 months?
No. I don't think it has really. I still see in groups all this hate being spilled.
I think it probably could happen again.
Yeah.
That's the faith I have in the country, really.
This is the react, and it couldn't be. And I absolutely 100% agree with her. People don't have any faith. You know, and the police are consistently getting undermined. You hear Reform UK, you hear Nigel Farage keep spilling and spewing into the minds of these people, saying the police can't be trusted. They're not telling you the truth. They're not telling you whether this person is a certain nationality or whether they are asylum seeker or not. They're hiding the information from you. Like, they're undermining the very police who are supposed to protect us, the British public. They're undermining them as well. It's so horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And for those of you who didn't see this clip from James O'Brien, you need to hear this clip as well, because this again adds, and he hit the nail on the head here. I don't always agree with James O'Brien, I've got to be clear, but he hit the nail on the head with this one.
People haven't just got things a little bit wrong about immigration. They've got things wrong by a scale that is actually visible from space. They think that there are more people coming irregularly than regularly, when the real ratio is 4% to 96%. We are a gaslit nation, and the gaslighters are on the march, probably popping up on LBC again next week to take your calls. And what they are peddling is categorically untrue. You've got the law and order stuff. Well, while I'm on the subject of Farage, here is a man who doesn't think that the voters of Essex should be told that their candidate has been banged up for battering a woman, but who thinks he can somehow cast himself as a paragon of law and order. It's hilarious if it was happening in another country.
Yeah, if it was happening in another country, this would have been dealt with already. Well, with the exception of America. You know, if this had happened in another European country, this would have been nipped in the bud already. But it's happening here. Consistently, every single day, we are being undermined. We're being undermined. And those who are responsible for gaslighting all this, they're not facing any punishment. They're not facing any crimes. And Labour are not doing anything about it. They're sitting it back and they are allowing this. And it will. And what's happening now? What happened with the riots? What's happening with this tension right now? This will be so much worse if Reform gets into power. So much worse. They will turn us against each other on such a fundamental level. It will just be on a monumental scale if Reform have it their way. And here's an old Keir Starmer saying what we all need to do.
Secondly, that safe and legal routes to asylum need to be established. And this goes to the heart of the discussion about whether refugees should be taken from, as it were, within Europe, having arrived, or beforehand. The key issue is safe and legal routes. Now, those are serious proposals put on the table by eminent experts in the field who think they should be debated, and I'd urge that we find time to do that.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to this guy, you know. I wonder what happened to this man, you know. Does anyone know what happened to him? Because I honestly don't know what happened to him. I don't know at all. Don't recognise him. Don't recognise him at all, guys. I know, it's just frustrating. Where is that story I had? No, not that one. So I wanted to share. Oh, where is that story? Or did I not save it? Hi, 1 second. Ah, yes, there it is. So, guys, before did I want to share the Tommy Robinson clip? Should I share the Tommy Robinson clip before I share this nice clip? Yeah, let me share this clip from Tommy Robinson. Okay. So, the full clip, if anyone wants the full clip, I'm just going to show you. I'm going to put the link if anyone wants to watch the full video. I do say do be careful, obviously, listening to it. 1 second. I'm just going to put the link if you guys are mad enough to watch the full thing. 1 second. So, what I just sent a link in the description, guys, is a 8-minute 43 video, and I have watched the full thing. God, don't ask me why. The video that Tommy Robinson's lawyer does not want you to see, uploaded in full to preserve it. This is the initial video in which Tommy Robinson uploaded yesterday and deleted before uploading a new video. I suspect his lawyers frantically got on the phone and begged him to delete it, as the witness intimidation in the end may be a breach of his bail conditions. Now, in this clip you're about to read here, blatant witness intimidation from Tommy Robinson. Tommy says that the witness of his alleged assault of an old man are far-left activist actors lying, and even warns them that he knows who they are and has gone through their social medias. This is blatant threatening. So this is all based on the incident that happened. What happened to him, okay?
When I looked at, let's just say one of the witnesses is a far-left activist, an actor. Yeah? The other funny thing, which I expected anyway, was lies from witnesses. What they don't realise is there is yeah, a recording of what was happening that hasn't been released. Yeah. So when you read a witness statement, I think, well, we've got the recording, dickhead. Yeah. So what you're saying was said wasn't said. Certainly not by me. Yeah. The aggressor, because some of these witnesses who give big statements about who I am and how racist I am and I should be back in jail. You know, unfortunately for you, bruv, yeah, there is a recording. There's always a fucking recording. The most scary week of my life, because I expected the footage to be erased and I expected there to be witnesses, which there are, which don't tell the real story, which again there are. Unfortunately for those witnesses, if they decide to prosecute on this, you're going to look pretty stupid, lads. Yeah, and your own agenda, and it is a political agenda, because I've gone through the social medias, I've gone through who you are, I know everything. It's going to look pretty damning for you. You're lying. You're lying, and the evidence is there to prove you're lying.
So yeah, there he is, basically telling the witnesses, you better not lie about me, or basically me and my people are coming after you, which is pretty much essentially what Tommy Robinson is saying there. Witness tampering. You know, when is he going to be held accountable? When is that guy going to be held accountable? Speaking of people who should be held accountable, does anyone remember this fucker? Can you believe it? The turd is back. The turd that never flashes. Boris bloody Johnson. Boris Johnson tells an audience in Taiwan, we will solve the problems of shortages of social care workers which we have in the UK. Not with more immigrants, but with ChatGPT. Yes, that's what Boris Johnson said, guys.
And we will solve the problem of social care workers, the shortage of social care workers which we have in our country. Not with more immigrants, but with, I think, eventually ChatGPT. ChatGPT androids, reminding the elderly to take their pills in a tirelessly polite and deferential manner.
I know Boris Johnson is not the brightest person, and we know that. But unfortunately, what Boris doesn't know is that GPT can't help a person out of bed, can't help them go to the toilet, can't help make breakfast for them, you know, can't get them from A to B in the house, you know. ChatGPT can't clean the house for them. I wish Boris knew that, but he obviously doesn't know. Yes, you could have Alexa you could have Amazon Alexa tell you when you're due your pills. You could have that, but I don't think ChatGPT can replace the person of social care worker here. Yeah. I don't know if it's ChatGPT makes up things or get things wrong because it's so polite and it's good for my... Fuck it, I'm just going to play the clip.
Look, I don't mind if ChatGPT occasionally makes things up or gets things wrong.
Yeah, because that's definitely fine, guys. Because you know what? Humans make mistakes too, you know. Humans make mistakes too. Yeah, it's true.
Because it's so polite.
Oh, it's okay then. It's okay if it's okay if an AI bot gets something killed or makes a mistake, guys, because it's polite, you know. You know, if I'm polite, does that make, if I'm polite, guys, and I make a mistake, and I accidentally kill someone, does that mean I'm off the hook? Yeah, as Boris Johnson says. I don't think so.
It's so good for my ego. And imagine having a little friend who tells you every day, you had a brilliant and original idea. You're so clever, says ChatGPT. Me like a long time, says ChatGPT. And it's all free.
This guy's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Don't worry, guys. I'm not going to put any more of that on you. I'm not going to put any more of that on you. You know, because yeah, it's not worth putting that through, you guys. It's already been brutal as it is. But instead, I'm going to show you something, really. It's not a good news story, but it's a nice story and a nice, in a way, story. This I really like this, and for those who don't know, obviously, 80 years ago, Hiroshima bombing happened, and I'll take you. Well, actually, before I show you the nice video, I'm going to show you the clip today. 13 hours ago in Japan. So this was the 8:15 in Hiroshima. People deserved a minute of silence on the Arrow Bridge, which is said to have been the target of the atomic bomb 80 years ago today. So I figured let's just play this for you guys before we play the video related to it. It's in the description, Pete's Music. If you go into my description, there's a link for Discord. You just click the link down below. The link for Discord's in the description. Yeah, the link is in the description, guys, for the Discord. If you go into the descriptions below, there you go. Giles provided the link. So this is the video. I hope, in part, that this is a bit of heartwarming to you guys in a certain way as well. A 12-year-old volunteer is making sure visitors to Hiroshima Peace Park gets a personal look at the tragedy of the world's first nuclear bombing, recounting his own family experience as passed down generation to generation. Remember, this is a 12-year-old volunteer who chooses to do this, yeah? And he speaks very good English as well.
I want them to tell the story that they know when they come to Hiroshima, and then like spread the story all around.
For 5 years, the 12-year-old has been a volunteer guide. So he's been doing this for 5 years, guys. 5 years. That's how awesome he is.
I want them to know how bad is war and how good is peace. Like, instead of fighting, we should talk to each other about the good things of each other.
私の母親は家で家事を手伝ってたと。だから中学1年生になってかならないかぐらいの年ですからやっていたと。でその時に原爆が落ちて、その時どうなったかと、原爆だと分かってないんだけども、家が当然潰れて瓦礫の中に渦まってたと。だから火傷はしなかったけど放射能を浴びたと。
To hear that about his family, that his grandmother, great-grandmother was a survivor, I certainly wrapped it up and it brought it home. It made it much more personal.
But my dad said the most dangerous thing is to forget what happened a long time ago. We should pass the story to the next generation and then never forget it.
I love that. And I know it's something that's really lovely as well, is he gets people who visit, who are his guide, to sign his jacket. And you know, it's all the signatories of different people who have come, visited and signed it. I love that. I absolutely love that. I really admire not just him, but his whole family who are continuously doing this and passing on what is a very important part of Japan's history. Yes, it is a dark history, but it's one that is important to remind people that it happened. And yes, of course, those lives lost, they did not need to die. They did not need to happen. But it's important that people remember what happened. And I thought that, I thought this was really, you know, I thought this was very nice. I thought this was a nice one to share for you guys. So I hope that gave you some comfort considering what we've been covering today, guys. So, which one should I play out of all the funny videos? Yeah, let's play this one. Let's end with a funny video, guys. Let's end with a funny video. Unfortunately, no super chats or gifted memberships today, but I do appreciate all you guys being here nonetheless, guys. I really, really do. I do feel like I do feel I learn more bit about myself and about history in this live stream more than any other live streams, because I feel like we touch on things a bit more than what I normally expect. I find this live stream, out of all the live streams I do, some of the most insightful for sure. But Maggie Reed is going to bring us back to the crazy world. We are in good hands with Duffman, says Maggie Reed. What's that of Regan? Well, let's find out, guys.
From the real world Boston to Secretary of Transportation, I'm joined today by Sean Duffy, or as I like to call him, Duffman. Oh yeah! So Sean, you've got a big boy job now, overseeing America's skies and roads and even space.
With Donald Trump, NASA's back.
NASA's back?
What's so cool is...
What's cool?
The moon is a big place.
The moon is big, yeah. And I hear that you want to build a nuclear reactor on that big moon.
We are going to go back to the moon. We're not going to land. We're going to go around the moon. And then about a year later, we're going to land back on the moon.
Okay.
And then after that, we're going to set up a base camp.
A base camp on the moon.
We're going to stay on the moon, and what we learn on the moon is what's going to take us to Mars.
And are you on Mars right now? Don't you think we should be fixing our Earth transportation problems before we build a base camp on the moon?
As Americans, we're explorers. You think of the pioneers, you think of those who moved west. That's what we do.
Explorers, huh? Sounds completely unnecessary and expensive.
We've heard of NASA focused on Earth science and global warming. No, we are space exploration. We're going back to the moon. We're going to have a base camp.
Earth science is global warming. This old broken planet, right? Boring. So who's going to be going to the moon?
American astronauts. They're right out of central casting.
Well, they've got to look the part. That's the most important thing. You know, I have an idea. What if we sent the entire Trump administration to the moon, and then you guys stay at the base camp and leave the Earth people here alone?
We're going back to the moon, baby.
Okay, bye-bye. From the...
Yep, send them to their so-called moon base camp. Like, base camp, what's that all about? Like, oh my god, these people are fit. Like, here's the thing. I've always said in my childhood, I expected when I'm old and grey to at least there be a proper moon base by now, so that I can actually maybe one day, if I had enough money, maybe go to visit the moon. But that hasn't happened. That's annoying. Duffman, as Jow says. Don't ask me to do more of the Duffman. Shall we do one more funny video? Yeah, I suppose we could. We could do. Yeah, let's. Unfortunately, it's not that funny. It can be a bit gruesome as well, though. But I put a dead bear in my van, and then we dropped it in Central Park. Robert Kenneth F.K. Jr. casually tells Roseanne the most unhinged roadkill tale of all time. This is the guy, by the way, that's cut funding for that's basically cut all the funding, like £500 million for development of vaccines as well, guys.
I was taking a group of people falconing up in Goshen, New York, up in the Hudson Valley, and I was supposed to meet them there at like maybe 8 or 9. I was driving up maybe, really early, like 7, and that woman in a van in front of me hit a bear and killed it, a young bear. So I pulled over and I picked up the bear and put him in the back of my van because I was going to skin the bear, and it was very good condition, and I was going to put the meat in my refrigerator. And you can do that in New York State. You can get a bear tag for a roadkill bear. And at the end of the dinner, it went late, and I realized I couldn't go home. I had to go to the airport. And the bear was in my car, and I didn't want to leave the bear in the car because that would have been bad. I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park, and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike. It'll be funny for people. So everybody thought, that's a great idea. So we went and did that, and we thought it would be amusing for whoever found it or something.
That poor bear. That poor bear. What a nasty individual he is. Absolutely nasty. And yes, that is by Diaper Diplomacy, AI generated videos on Twitter. Do follow. I am going to be using their videos I'm going to use some of their funny videos going forward. Yes, I am, guys. Yes, I am. Just because I think it's funny. Got on the welcome page, posted it earlier. It's bad for me. Probably never find it again. To be fair, guys, it took me a while to get to figure out Discord, and now I'm on server. So, it's fine, guys. I put it maybe 10 years later and allow NVIDIA space. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know. When I was a kid, I was like, one day there's gonna be humans living on the moon, and I'm an adult, and they're still not living on the moon, and I'm probably gonna be, and then when I'm in my 60s and 70s, we still wouldn't be living on the moon because we've shot ourselves in the foot because we're too busy fighting amongst each other, because that's how some of us are, I'm afraid. Don't disrespect Grandpa's system by comparing him to Robert Kennedy Jr. That's so disrespectful. Back in my day. I'm trying to do the Grandpa one. I can't do it. Can't do it. So, guys, I want to say thank you all to coming along here tonight. Thank you guys for all your comments. I really, really do appreciate you guys. If you guys stayed all the way from the start to the end of this live stream. I know it's been a long one. I really appreciate it, guys, so much. I'll be back tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the morning for another good morning show. And then we'll be covering news from the United States of America, Regan on America, tomorrow at 8 p.m. So if you could join me for that evening show, it would be greatly appreciated, guys. I have recorded more videos as well as I've got videos dropping tomorrow and Friday, which are already available to members now. So if you are a top tier member, you can get access to them now. And of course, you also get access to pictures of Jasper, our cat, if you're a YouTube member as well. So gives you all the more reason to be a member, because why would you not want to see pictures of our beloved cat Jasper? Because we want to give him lots of attention. That's why. There. So yeah, thank you guys again. Really appreciate it. The gang have been here the whole time, by the way. Just to show you guys here. They're here. Blaze is here. You can see Blaze is here. He has returned. We did find him this morning. And Cash Dummy the Cookie Monster is also there. Ollie's not happy, obviously, because we didn't make any money tonight, but that's fine. I don't monetize the live streams, guys. I only monetize my short and main videos. So I don't make, the only money I make from live streams is whatever super chats and memberships. That's the only thing there. Because the reason why I don't monetize my live stream, the other reason why I don't monetize my live streams as well, is I don't want an excuse to get copyrighted as well. So that's another reason why as well. So before I head out, I just have one last thing to say. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, share this across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon. Links for them are down below. Remember, there's additional content on those platforms, guys. Do check them out because if you want more content, I really appreciate if you do. If you do, leave a comment down. Leave a comment on those videos if you can as well. Be greatly appreciated. You don't have to be a paid Patreon member to see additional content on there. There is free content as well for free members on Patreon as well. So you do get something just for being on Patreon. So that'd be greatly appreciated. And obviously, links for all of my social medias are down in the description below, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.